beehives take on the personality of their owner.
That's not the case there. Okay, well, I think we've accomplished our goal out here today. Is there anything anybody wants to do?
Let's pull out these sticky boards and see if we had any more of a night drop.
Okay. Yeah, that's very easy to do.
Where do you get the sticky stuff to put on the cardboard?
Don't they use Vaseline? Isn't that Vaseline?
No, this is a sticky.
Oh,
Feel the
look at
surface.
those things. Oh, those are ants. Those aren't mice.
There's one. Yep, there's one.
I don't know if that's one or not.
Still very few though.
Oh, there's one.
Yep.
So you can
There's
just take
one.
like wax paper and spray it with
You can spray it with vegetable
Pledge or
oil.
something.
Like a Pam type.
Pledge or Pam or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So we've had a few more mites drop.
Where do you buy the sticky board paper? Do you supply it?
No. Well, you can. I would.
You know, another thing that would work for that would just be covering, for shelf covering.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got some of that.
Just pull off the back. Whoa, that hit that one move.
So how many? When would you start worrying? How many?
This
mites
is
would you
not a
have to
real
see?
large mite population, but you're going to find mites in all of these. And when you find
What's
one
that?
mite, if the bee inspector comes to your bee yard and finds one mite in one hive, all other hives are considered to have the mite.
Oh.
They don't
So what is
condemn
it?
your bee yard. They just say, okay, you've got varroa mite, and varroa mite basically are transferred from bee to bee. And since all of your bees can drift from one hive to another, there's a good possibility that the mites are going to be there.
Yeah,
Dana,
always
what are
written
these? Right here. It's like 4 or 5 of those little.
Well, you know, it looks like mice droppings to me, but I don't know.
You know, we have these little things around my house too, this time of year.
Yeah,
They're little bugs.
okay. I don't know what they are.
I traded my
But
brother.
don't you leave this in for a certain period of time?
If you want to count.
Here's
you
a
want-
mite
yeah,
here.
if
You
you
see how
want to
shiny it is on top?
Usually 24 hours.
And here's another mite over here. There's going to be a regular mite drop regardless. That's why the screen bottom boards are so good. It's because the mites will drop through the screen and they fall all the way
Do you
through
want
the
to leave
hive.
these out so you
Three
get some
and out.
ventilation up through it
What?
now? Do you want to leave these out to get ventilation, or do you want to put them back?
We can just take the sticky board off. And, these have been in the hive. We could leave them off if you want. With hot weather, it's not a bad idea. Just leave them off. And we can put these over into the storage shelf. I have one other thing to share with you tonight. When we disappeared over to the bee lab with Joe Laxall last night, and Terry was doing the kind of thing with the bees, and then I came back and found out Terry had already been through things with everybody, which was good. I came up with a piece of history out of that lab to take up to Worcester, and I'll show it to you.
Where did you find
I was over at the bee lab looking at Rothenbuehler's original table that he used for inseminating queens. It's over here. And we're going to move it up to Worcester, to the bee lab.
Oh, it's over in here?
Yeah. And so Joe wanted to show me the table because I'll be picking it up and taking it up to Worcester, and I wanted to make sure I knew what it looked like. And at the time we were over there, Glenn, who works over in that building, as one of the extension entomologists, pointed out to me that they had found this behind some cabinets, file cabinets. And what this is
Is that the old?
no, this is not our bee lab,
Oh, okay.
but this is the bee laboratory for Dr. Lloyd Watson, who was the first to artificially inseminate queens.
Is that right?
And what this is a series of photographs showing the Dr. Watson, his researchers, and assistants. There were 4 people working in that lab. And it shows primarily, Dr. Watson working with his insemination device that he developed. It hasn't really changed over the years.
It really hasn't, has it?
No. The principles are basically the same
Where was his office?
in
His
Alfred,
laboratory.
New York.
Oh, Alfred, I see. No,
And it's in bad, bad shape. But we're going to frame this and put it into the bee lab up at Worcester.
Actually, the pictures are still pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I realize the damage to it is unfortunate, but as far as history is concerned, we're going to use the damaged part as well as the.
Yes.
And one thing that you need to realize is, as you're looking at your bees, they will differ. They will differ in some cases. I've seen bees with white eyes and yellow eyes. Are not bees, the drones. Okay? These become markers. And what the lab did is basically artificially inseminated queens, and you have pictures here showing the brood patterns that they laid. And you also have genetic differences, mutants of heads of various bees. Drones, for example, you notice how large the eyes are on drones?
Well, those are light colored eyes.
Yes. Unfortunately, it's not in color, because then you would have been able to see the differences of color. But if you run across a hive of bees and you notice that your drones are a little bit funny looking, let us know. Because those drones then become genetically used in your program, so they are markers. They can find out a little more about the prodigy of the queen by following that recessive gene. And so artificial insemination becomes extremely important in order to reproduce and pass these to next generations, because if the queen goes out and carries this recessive gene and she doesn't mate with a drone that has this recessive gene, then it doesn't show up. Because you have to have 2 recessive genes present for it to show up, which is really interesting.
It is.
When they artificially inseminate, how do they get the sperm out of the drone?
That's it. Drones mature at approximately 14 days and after. And if you take a mature drone and you squeeze its thorax, it'll ejaculate.
Oh, okay.
And then they
So
use
they really
a tube to
pretty small.
draw the semen off, and they put that in a that is what goes into the insemination device. It is a pretty simple device, really. You have a holder for the queen. You have 2 little prongs here that are used to open up the valve chamber for the queen. And then you have an insemination device, which is nothing more than a glass tube that's drawn out to a very fine little point, and then that tip is broken off, and you fill that tube with semen, and then you use a syringe, more or less, a micro syringe, that you can adjust the amount of semen that goes into the queen.
Does the queen have like a cloaca?
She has a valve that is over her.
So separate from Marinus?
Yes, it is.